This episode is brought to you by Monkey Nutrition.
You know, for people that don't know a whole lot about you, I was just wondering if you could just give us a quick kind of where you started to where you are right now. I know you were a high school dropout.
Absolutely.
And you had some days homeless in Detroit.
Yeah.
And then I was watching a video of Eric, and he said he had a vision when you were 17, I think, and he said something else. And he said, for success, only one person has to believe.
That's it.
That's one of the many things that Eric said. And I was wondering if you could explain, what happened when you were 17 and what's the journey?
Yeah, you know, my story is no different than a lot of people. You know, Drake said it best, started from the bottom. Now we hit. You know, we're in London, you know, so unfortunately my mom was a teen mom, you know, wasn't married, had me at 18 years old. And, you know, it was just me and moms for a while, moved to Detroit. She married, her husband adopted me. I wasn't really, you know, feeling my man like that, wasn't feeling the relationship. And so, you know, just a downward spiral, didn't take school serious, didn't take life serious. And I end up at 16 so rebellious, you know, so angry with my mom that I eventually got kicked out the house. I'm living in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, you know, hanging with the wrong group, just going the wrong way, man. And, you know, one day I was like, man, I want better. You know, like I'm looking at guys on the block. You know, you either end up in jail or you're dead. Like, you don't retire from the life that we were living. And I was like, it's not for me, man. Like, I gotta be able to do something better, you know. And so I made my move. You know, I got in a different environment. I started going to church, started dating this young lady who really, you know, held me accountable. She's like, I'm going to college and I'm not dating a high school dropout, you know. And so I end up getting my GED, going to college. And for real, a lot of people didn't believe in me. Your mom, you know, came from nothing. You know, your daddy wasn't in your life. You didn't do well in school. So there's a journey for that type of person. And I was like, hey, not for me. You know, I'm going to be somebody. And although people didn't believe, I always said, you sometimes when you're running a company, when you first start a company, you got to be the CEO, the CFO, the COO. You know, you got to be the administrative assistant, the mail clerk. You got to do everything. You know, mailman. You got to do it all. And so, for my personal life, I became that person for me. And I want everybody to hear this. Now there are hundreds of people, maybe even thousands, I don't know, who believe in me. But it all happened because I believed in myself. So once you invest in yourself, people are willing to invest in you. And
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now. This week on London Real, we have the English rapper, poet, and journalist, Akala.
Hate by the pound surrounds my reflection. I do this for my own protection.
If I didn't go to Pan-African Saturday School, if I didn't grow up in the Empire, if I didn't listen to Wu-Tang Forever or read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was 9, would I be the person I am today? Probably not.
One too many man that could have been doctors end up spending the whole life boxed up.
Hip-hop was my life. It was something I lived. I loved interacting with it. I wrote lyrics every day. I was in battles.
Cause to me, all they do is breed conflict.
First time I saw someone get stabbed, I was 12, and it was a little poke. It was a meat cleaver in the back of a guy's head. I had other teachers that felt that a person from my racial, cultural, economic background, and certainly from my socioeconomic background, should not have been top of the class. These were guys who were doing well in the street, but they'd spent so much of their life in and out of prison, etc. But they were like, you don't want to be like us. You know, you're clever. In fact, if you drop out of school, we're going to give you a hiding.
Yeah, they say you are British, and that lovely patriotism that feeds you. But in reality, you have more in common with immigrants than with your leaders.
If the music is good enough, if the visual is good enough, if your online interaction is decent, you can keep your integrity and have a career.
If we're honest, true strength is the strength to be honest.
Ultimately, any power structure in the world wants to stay powerful.
On Sunday, London Real presents Akala. Knowledge is power.
It's fear, but at 20, you can't admit it's fear.